Roll the intro. Football is a wild and crazy game. We're seeing record lows in passing, in scoring, but record highs in kicking and defense. And I've made fun of Arthur Smith before, but this is Arthur Smith's absolute wet dream. The man who is anti airplanes and anti passing is having a field day with his kicker as he now works for the Steelers. Sometimes players matter a lot, sometimes players do not matter at all. Injuries are starting to mount up, so you really got to get that next man up mentality and really hope that Sean doesn't already have your handcuff. The Patriots somehow do not look like a complete dumpster fire early on in the season. They have more wins than the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Rams. All of them are 0-2, so technically they have more than all three of those combined. But only 2 weeks into the season, that sounds a little nonsensical to say. I heard a stat the other day about the NFL and its playoff teams, right? 5% of NFL teams that start 0-2 make the playoffs that season. Now, in order to feel superior than the ESPN automated AI weekly recap, I thought this was a stat that I can get for our own league that they could get, but haven't done yet. So I looked over the past 4 seasons of all the teams that started the season 0-2. And over this past 4 seasons, only 2 teams ended up making the playoffs, which gives us 15%. So I think it's there's 2 out of 13. That doesn't sound right. But anyway, it's 15% of the 0-2 teams, which is actually higher than the NFL number. Of those teams that did make the playoffs, one was at 0-3, which that's impressive. One won the next week. So it's infinitely important to win these games, obviously. But as we're looking down towards the bottom of our league this year, we have Sean and the TJs, both, all three, sitting at 0-2. So it's really time to start getting this together. 8 wins will make the playoffs, and you only have 11 matchups from week 3 to 13 in order to make that happen. It's not looking good. If you go to 0-3, the numbers drop drastically. So let's hop right into this past week's matchups, shall we? Al played TJT, and welcome to the NFL, Marvin Harrison Jr. After 1 week when everybody was questioning how fast he could run, this man can play some fucking football. He's putting up Randy Moss numbers in the first half in his second NFL game. I probably wouldn't have picked him as high in the draft. Well, I didn't pick him, fucking obviously. Al did. But if he does this every game, that's the greatest fantasy pick ever, right? We all love Achane, so Al's kind of second big guy here, right? Harrison and Achane scored a lot of points for her in this matchup. We love Achane around here, and I'm really happy to see that he's playing, that he's winning, and I just continue to pray that his legs stay intact. I feel like Al's season goes as his legs go. On the other side of this, TJ, you had a bunch of mid and even below mid going on here. You had two big scores and then a bunch of fives. Fives don't win matchups. We start 10 players. If every single one of them scores five, you score 50 points, bro. Like, it's no balance. No balance going on there. Not a good look. Um, and there is a chance, like I know TJ's coming in, doing all this research, really, really dedicated to this season. But bro, there is a real chance that 90% of your roster is certified bums. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. If even if you have the greatest fantasy player and Christian McCaffrey, if the rest of your team is bums, then it doesn't matter. Next up, we had Brennan playing Trevor this week. Brennan stays undefeated, uh, staying on that nice winning path by beating the shit out of Trevor. Mahomes is Trevor's quarterback here, and he's off to a really strange start. Not the kind of start you want from a quarterback that you're drafting really high. Mahomes isn't scoring even 20 points per game. Very un-Mahomes, but they're winning football games. So I don't know what to say about that. I don't know, Trevor. Maybe you should say something. We love Malik Neighbors. I liked him. I liked watching the film of him. Uh, but I didn't trust what was going on in the Giants organization, and I think that's going to be a big up and down thing. You know, Daniel Jones. What was the stat I broke out? He's thrown more pick sixes than touchdowns in a course of fuck. If you do that over the course of one game, that's horrible. If you do that over the course of 10, I don't understand how you have a job. Anyway, Brennan may be in the market for a quarterback coming up soon because his quarterbacks are also just mid. But as long as his wide receivers are scoring like they are, then quarterback doesn't matter. We had Meg take on Signy this week, and I gotta ask Signy, what the fuck are you doing? I thought you were into football. I thought you liked football. I thought you liked fantasy football. I thought you liked this league. It's not looking like it. Your team is certified trash. These dudes are scrubs. Lockett, Sutton, Rashad White, like these guys are not it. That's not how you build a fantasy football team. Sure, there's some injuries on your bench. You're carrying two mediocre quarterbacks. I struggle to find any sort of a bright spot through this roster. Rest of the bench is boo boo. This team sucks. Um, I'm sticking by my preseason power ranking compared to ESPN's. So far, that's going well. You're 1-1, but like I like Sean's team better. So nice win by Megan. Kyler Murray is looking like the absolute steal of this fantasy football draft. He's back. You know, he's got little legs, but as long as he keeps moving them, he'll be all right. As soon as he stops moving, it's scary. But he's looking like he's taking that team to the playoffs. Bula played Alex this week. And there's only one way to talk about this game, and it's through Alvin Kamara. Unbelievable. Too many touchdowns to count. And I think a fun exercise is to compare the scores in the equivalents, right? Let's try. Alvin Kamara outscored Bula's quarterback, tight end, two flexes, defense, and kicker combined. And that was it. That's basically the game. If Alvin Kamara outscores more than half of your roster, you do not win. Alvin Kamara scored 43 points. So good luck beating that at all. But Bula, this is teetering in the wrong direction. You're really at risk here of your entire season falling apart. No production out of either flex spot, and you have two tight ends that do nothing. Yeah, I can't look at this team anymore. I'm genuinely repulsed. You know, I'm scrolling through the team. Get it off my screen. In what was actually our closest matchup of the week, Sean lost by 25 points to Pete. Sean's team is set up for the late season. We've talked about this, but he needs to start stealing some wins early, and it's not happening. It's really not happening right now. The highest score on Sean's team is the backup for Christian McCaffrey with 15.9 points. Good. Hey, you got this guy, lottery ticket, end of the draft. It's paying off. But other than that lottery ticket at the end of the draft, the rest of your roster is not even getting into double digits. And if Christian McCaffrey comes back, then the only player scoring 15 points is just no longer getting any time. That's risky business. Pete's team's solid enough. You would have lost to every other winning team this week, but we play in a one-on-one head-to-head matchup game. So congratulations. We'll get into the luck index in a couple of weeks when it matters. But Pete got lucky this week. This was another kicker and defense dominated team. Pete got 15 points from a kicker and his defense, outscoring all but two of his other players. So silly. Arthur Smith loves that. Lastly, I took on Tim. All I got to say is that I might have the greatest fantasy football team in history. That's at least what it's looking like right now. Another win for your boy. Can I be stopped? Everyone scores points on my team. On the other hand, I do feel bad for Tim. Injuries are really piling up for him. He lost Puka in week 1, and he lost Pacheco in week 2. Top picks, keeper guys, like the foundational moments of Tim's team, and he's relying a lot more on DeAndre Swift as the weeks go along. We're going to check in on the Swift saga soon, but it's not going swimmingly. So after I wrote up the little intro and then all of the matchup parts this week, I took a break from writing and I went for a walk. And on my walk, I realized how negative I had been in that part of the script. And I don't want to just come across as like a complete hater, right? I was gonna say it's not fun. It's kind of fun, but it doesn't show really what's going on in this league. But it really feels like so far I hate most of your teams. I'm not even sure I like my team, but I really hate most of your teams. I kind of like Al's team. It's got some weird depth to it. Um, and I think I like Brennan's team. But otherwise, like I kind of hate most of your teams. And everything this week was a blowout. It was kind of like as long as you didn't suck, you got to win. And like the disparity is quite large. So I would like to plead, do better, and I will be more positive. How about that arrangement? Now, let's take a quick look at the upcoming week, and then let's get out of here and watch some football. This week I'm going for 3-0, 3 straight wins to start off the season. That'd be great. I'd love that. I'm taking on Father Cates. Father Cates is going for not falling to 0-3. Someone's going to win, someone's going to lose here. So I might knock Sean out of the playoff hunt, or he might be a blip in my season. We'll see. The two remaining Vermont residents, TJ Tatro and Trevor, are facing off in what really seems like a race to rock bottom. Former roommates Signe and Al battle it out to see if Al's team's legit or if Signy's team is full of shit. Both things could be true. Brennan continues his quest for an undefeated season, taking on Alex. Alex may have given up at this point, but is currently sitting in 4th place and in a playoff spot. The more we beat her early in the season, the quicker she gives up. That's basically how this works. Don't give her an opportunity to make the playoffs, and then let Garrett get back on the phone and tell her who to add drop. Meg and Pete meet in a pivotal week 3 matchup, both at 1-1. And this could spell a bit of relief of I'm above 500 for at least 2 more weeks, or a little bit of disaster at I'm below 500 for the next 2 weeks. So, at the very least. So this is a real like nut up or shut up thing. Like both these teams have a little bit of promise, but they have to perform. Lastly, we have a surefire stinker on our hands with Tim and Bula. This could be another race to the bottom. These two teams are not looking good, and it's got a pretty low combined projected points. Don't love it, but hopefully it's entertaining. And that's really what we're here for. We're here to be entertained. There's money on the line. We like football. But this is entertainment, right? Now, let's go spend all of our time implanting our asses into the couch as they devour us and we enjoy Scott Hanson. Bye bye.